I discovered my husband's secret family after his accident. Now I have to decide if I tell him when he wakes up, the doctor said. My husband might not remember the accident when he wakes up. What he doesn't know is that I am hoping he doesn't remember the last 5 years at all. 3 weeks ago, Michael's car collided with a semi on the interstate. I got the call at 2 a.m. That moment every spouse dreads. When I reached the hospital, he was already in surgery, traumatic brain injury. He no fractures, induced coma to reduce swelling. He'll need someone to manage his affairs while he's unconscious, the hospital administrator told me. As his wife, you'll need his passwords, accounts, everything. I realized I knew almost nothing about Michael's finances. For 7 years of marriage, he'd insisted on handling everything himself. You hate numbers, he'd say with that charming smile. Let me worry about this stuff in his office at home. I found his laptop. The password was my birthday. Purr, how romantic, I thought. If only I'd known what else I'd find. First came the apartment lease in a town 40 miles away. Then credit card statements showing dinners for 2 every Thursday night for years. Part always when he was supposedly working late. Then photos. So many photos of Michael with another woman and a little boy who looked exactly like him. The most recent was from last week. Purnt to 3 of them at the beach building sandcastles. The same beach where Michael told me he was at a business conference. My hand shook as I found her name, parent Rebecca. I found her number in his contacts before I could stop myself. I called her Michael. She answered, sounding worried. You never call this late. Is everything okay, Michael? She repeated. Bah, this isn't Michael. I finally said. This is his wife. His wife, she whispered. That's not possible. We've been together 6 years. We have a son. My world collapsed as she told me everything. How they met at a conference. How he told her he was divorced. How he spent 3 nights a week with them, claiming he traveled for work the rest of the time. How their 4-year-old son Ethan had been asking when daddy would come home. He was supposed to be here yesterday, she said, her voice breaking. He never showed up because he was lying in a hospital bed with tubes keeping him alive. I hung up and vomited in the wastebasket the next day. I drove to their apartment. I don't know why. Purnt to see it with my own eyes. Perhaps. Rebecca answered the door. A beautiful woman with tired eyes and a sleeping child on her hip. I just need to know if it was all a lie, I said. She invited me in. Their apartment was filled with photos. Parent Michael teaching Ethan to ride a bike. Michael carving pumpkins. Michael reading bedtime stories. A whole life he'd built while married to me. He told me you were abusive, Rebecca said quietly. That you wouldn't grant him a divorce. I laughed through tears. He told me he was working late, building our future. We talked for hours. 2 women who loved the same lying man, 2 victims, not enemies. Yesterday the doctor called good news, he said. The swelling has reduced significantly. We're planning to bring him out of the coma tomorrow. Now I sit beside Michael's hospital bed, watching his chest rise and fall. The doctors say here is a chance of memory loss. Purnt, sometimes patients lose months or even years of memories after traumatic brain injuries. Part of me hopes he wakes up thinking it's 2018 parent before he created his second family. We could start over. I could have my husband back, but then I look at the text from Rebecca on my phone. Ethan asked about his daddy again today, with a photo of a little boy holding a handmade card that says, get well soon. If Michael doesn't remember them, am I obligated to tell him they exist? Would I be as much a liar as him if I let him forget the son who waits for him? The doctor just came in. They're reducing the sedation now. In a few hours, Michael will open his eyes, and I still don't know what truth I am going to tell him.